In this video, we are going to be taking a look at weighted mean. So what do we mean by weighted mean? It's best understood when we use an example. So you are going to compute the mean, but you'll take you'll take into account the weight of the different components. So let's take this example to really understand what we mean by the weighted mean. So you are taking a class in which your grade is determined by 5 sources: 50% from your test, mean, 15% from midterm, 20% from finals, 10% from computer lab work, 5% from homework, and so on. So these are the different components of your course, and you see the different percentages. Then these are the scores. This is what you score in each of the different components. How do you compute your average in such a class, or your mean? Very straightforward. So you look at the weight is given, and this is what you score in the class. If you score this in the class and this weight is given, it's like this QA class. The weights of the different components are given. Now what you score, you simply multiply your score by the weight. It's important to express your weight in percentage. You see this is 50%, 15%. Percent just means divided by 100. So you just express it and you multiply 86 times 0.5, 96 times 0.15, 82 times 0.2, which is what we are doing here. It gives you the value and you add it. You simply add it. So this is the summation. This just means summation. You are adding x multiplied by the weight, and that gives you your mean value. Of course, you will divide it by the total weight, which is what we have here. You will divide it and it gives you that. Now, even if you don't express it as 100 as a percentage, when you at the end of the day, when you divide it by the sum of your weight, it's just going to give you the right answer, and that is it. Now, be very careful during the test. Lots of students have issues with this. They forget how to compute it, or they get mixed up. Let's take a look at the second approach, which generally causes trouble to students. It's computing the mean of grouped data. Mean of grouped data. So you are grouping data and then you want to compute the mean. So you can see that you are summing the frequencies and you multiply it by the score gotten. Well, let me just take an example to make it really clear. So here, for example, you have the different classes, you have the midpoint, and you have the frequency. Okay, remember the first example we did, we had to generate something similar. Let's say you now have this, and you have to compute the frequency. Now, there will be times you'll just be given the data set, and you first of all have to build your frequency table. After building your frequency table, you now have to compute the mean. Now, that's a very straightforward operation, because all what you need to do is to multiply the frequency by the midpoint. The midpoint is your x. So you are multiplying the frequency by the midpoint, and whatever it gives you, you will sum it. Once you sum it, you have to now divide it by your n. In this case, the n, or the sample size, is 50. This is the summation of the product of your midpoint and your frequency. It gives you 2089.0, and you divide it by 50, and there you go. Here is your mean. So be careful with the weighted mean and the mean of grouped data. Make sure you are comfortable with it, because it trips students up. Now, in the next video, we'll move on to a new topic, which is measures of variation. That also is a very easy topic. That's where we are talking of standard deviations and all sorts of deviations from the mean value.